Hi, I'm Colin R. Parsons, and I'm a children's author, as you know. I've got a YouTube channel, that kind of thing. If you want to follow my YouTube channel, obviously subscribe at the bottom, and you can drop a comment if you want. So what am I doing? Well, I've got a book coming out in a week. The book is called The Gamer, and it's all about Drake Banks, who's a 12-year-old boy, and he's been moving around to the army camps with his parents, but his father died. He was a captain in the army, and Drake and his mother then had to move back to where she was born, to her parents, his grandparents. Now in the background, it sounds like World War III because somebody's clay pigeon shooting. Now I'm in South Wales in the UK. I'm on our local mountain in Penriver, and I thought I'd come up here to do a reading of my new book on a quiet morning. I mean, the refrain of Drake Banks is grey. He's got a grey outlook in life because he doesn't fit in with the local school. Nobody talks to him, nobody wants to bother with him. They've all got their own gangs and cliques and things. And in the evenings, he spends most of his time running away from bullies who are trying to beat him and trying to make his life a misery, which is horrible, isn't it? But he has got one little thing in his life that brings him joy. And that's not the clay pigeon shooting in the background. That is actually a video game called Death Trap. He loves Death Trap, which is in an old, beaten up, old arcade, gaming arcade, which he loves to go to. There was a brand new gaming complex further up in the town where he lives, like a retail park where they've got a 10-pin bowling and they've got cinemas and they've got an indoor arcade with all the modern tech. But he likes the old arcade because not many people go there because it's run down. There's the regular punters and customers that come in, so he likes the quiet. Nobody plays much with Death Trap, only him, and he loves it. It takes him away. When he's like playing the game, you can go inside, kind of like reading a book. It takes you away to another world, and that's exactly what happens in The Gamer. He's playing the game, Death Trap, and he gets sucked into the actual console, into the game itself. And he's got to try and compete against Scott Vent and Crystal Moon, the two programs in the game. If he beats them, he can get out of the game and he's free. If he doesn't beat them, he'll be locked in there forever. Now, he finds himself, when he lands in this game, underwater. He swims and splatters to the surface, and he's in like a long rubber suit, and he's got a watch with a timer with a countdown. He's got to get to the end of this game before the others. So the one thing is, they are programmed for the game. They know all the turns and tracks and all the speed areas, and they know everything about the game. He's human, so he actually has got a different slant on it. Will they need to help each other to get through this game? Who knows? It's all inside The Gamer. So I'm going to read an extract, the first chapter, or a part of the first chapter, with World War III going on in the background, which is really strange, if I'm honest. So see how we get on. The first chapter is called Conflict, kind of like what's happening here. The wind whizzed past his ears as he sped across the narrow back streets and alleyways. Had he lost them? He didn't know, but he couldn't hear the shouts anymore, and that was a relief. Drake found a gap in the wall to his right and slipped into it with urgency. He flattened himself hard against the brick surface, clenched his eyes shut, and tried not to breathe. He was sweating and trembling in unison. Trying to hold your breath and breathe at the same time is difficult. His chest expanded and contracted as he gasped for breath, but he hardly uttered a sound. His heart felt like a caged animal trying to escape. He swallowed hard and licked his dry lips. They felt like 2 strips of plastic. Hiding there a while, he could smell the stale stench of urine. And when he opened his eyes, he could see glistening broken glass at his feet. He didn't want to stay here any longer than he had to. He waited and listened. It was almost quiet, except for the rattle and tinkle of metal in the background. Someone was working on a vehicle. He recognized the sounds. Besides that, the only other faint noise was that of a dog barking some distance away. He was safe for now. The stink soon became overpowering, and he knew he had to get out of there. Drake nervously tilted his head to peer on the edge of the brick. It was clear. He felt a small sigh deep within the pit of his stomach. He hung on for a few more excruciating moments just to make sure. He puffed out a mouthful of air and was ready. "Okay, time to go," he said softly, and tentatively eased himself back onto the street. Drake scoured the area for any danger and smiled that confident grin. He moved across the last couple of streets and was home in minutes. He sneaked inside his house quietly, turning the key in the lock, his eyes creasing and grinding with every click and squeak. Drake then stealthily climbed the stairs to his room and collapsed on his bed. He'd only been lying there for 5 minutes or so when he heard his mother shouting from the bottom of the stairs. He growled in annoyance from the pit of his throat and sniffed. "All right, I'll be down in a minute," he groaned, and sat up before he made his way downstairs into the living room. Chapter 10, Solo. Full daylight filtered into the tunnel as Drake drifted along. He finally came to a dead end in the pipe and began treading water. Drake gasped and gulped for air. His voice echoed along the hollow tube. He could hear the water in the background gushing and draining away into another pipe, he assumed. He flipped over and dove down to the base of the pipe, following the pull of the water. It took him back a couple of meters. He searched the base only to find a small grid where the water filtered through. He knew that he couldn't get out that way. He was too small to fit through. He swam back to the surface, the cold air chilling his cheeks. He looked up and saw that above him was a cutout in the pipe. Through half-closed eyes, he could only make out a pure white bar of light, no shapes or shaded areas. Drake's heart sank. He could see his predicament. The circumference of the tunnel was too great, so he couldn't stand up from the bottom. He had to somehow reach up, grab the cutout and pull himself out. Well, there you are. This is The Gamer, which is coming out on Friday, October the 23rd, 2020. It's $14.99 at the moment because it's a hardback, but you can get it on Kindle. And next year, March, is coming out in paperback. It's by my brilliant new publisher, Crystal Peak Publishers. And believe you me, there are tons and tons of things going on in this story. So if you'd like to purchase a copy, if you'd like to download it, that would be fantastic. You'll be able to get it on all your online stores, Amazon, probably Waterstones and W. Smith, and anywhere you can order. It won't be on the shelves, but there's so much competition out there these days that you can't get books on shelves. Even the big authors are having problems with that. So thank you very much for watching this video. I think, yes, World War III is finished. We're all still alive. Or are we? Bye for now.